All right, let's do some practice here. By which postulate can we prove that triangle PRQ, the triangle on the left, is congruent to triangle PSQ, the triangle on the right? Now, we've seen a picture similar to this before. And remember, our two options right now for proving triangles are congruent are either SSS or SAS. For SSS, we need all three sides of one triangle congruent to all three sides of the other triangle. For side angle side, we need two sides in one triangle and the angle between them equal to two sides and the angle between them in the other. Now, looking at this, side angle side is not a good candidate for this problem because I do not have any markings showing me that I have any congruent angles, and they didn't tell me in my instructions I had congruent angles. There are no vertical angles. Okay, so in this one, there's no way I can use SAS. So let's see if SSS would work somehow. Looking at this triangle, I have 1, 2 congruent sides here, two sides congruent to two sides congruent here. If this one other side were congruent, then SSS would work. And this side is congruent. It's not marked that way originally because they expect us to recognize that if this side is shared by the two triangles, it's going to be congruent to itself. Now, the property that says that each line is congruent to itself is called the reflexive property that we did back when we did a few proofs. Okay, so by which postulate can we prove those two triangles are congruent? By SSS, side, side, side. We have three sides of this triangle congruent to three sides of this triangle, therefore the two triangles are congruent. Okay, next, by which postulate can we prove that PRQ, the triangle on the left, is congruent to PSQ, the triangle on the right? Now notice this is almost exactly the same picture. The only difference is our given information. Okay, in the previous slide, this side was marked congruent to this side, and I did not have these angles marked as congruent. I still, if I want to prove these triangles are congruent, I still only have these two options, either SSS or SAS so far in what we've covered. And notice I do not know this pair of sides is congruent. I only have one pair of congruent sides marked. This side here, PQ, is shared by the two triangles, and I know PQ is congruent to itself, so I can mark that as congruent, but there's no way I can mark this third pair congruent. There's not a property that would tell me that. Fortunately, this time they marked a pair of angles as congruent. So with my given information, I'm able to use side, angle, side. Okay, notice I have a side, and the angle between them in the triangle are congruent to the side, and the angle between them in this triangle. So for this picture with this given information, I could prove they're congruent by side, angle, side, and not by side, side, side this time. So it all depends on what you're given.